I'm pleased to participate through this message in this special Congress, meeting point of prestigious specialists. I really congratulate you for the initiative, feeling honored for being selected to explain an issue of undoubtful meaning, the medically assisted reproduction national law of Argentina. I was asked to speak in English, so I hope I will be clear for all of you. As you know, this year, the National Congress of Argentina has passed a law of medically assisted reproduction. Until then, these treatments were not included in the Medical Compulsory Program, PMO in Spanish. Therefore, neither public hospitals were bound to freely provide these services, nor health companies should include them in their basic provisions. Only some provinces, like Rio Negro and Buenos Aires, had their own legislation since 2010. At the National Congress, there was strong consensus on passing a law that could help those ones who were suffering the impossibility of accessing to medically assisted reproduction. First drafts had been introduced more than a decade ago by different political forces. The bill that was finally enacted this year was introduced at first and passed at the House of Representatives. When it came to the Senate, committees of Health and Sport and Labor discusses. We complemented the original text with some inputs from different senators' drafts, among them a draft introduced by me. The High Chamber passed the draft bill with some modifications. Finally, on the 24th of April, the lower chamber accepted the proposals and enacted the law. Briefly, the law includes within the medical compulsory program the procedures and medical techniques for medically assisted reproduction. This comprises low and high complexity techniques which may include donation of embryos and gametes or any new scientific procedures and techniques approved by the health minister. At the Senate, as we have told you, we made some modifications to the original text. We added obligations to the health ministry, included the publication of a list of the private and public medical centers, the distribution of information, and the training of human resources involved in the medical procedures. Finally, we forced the ministry to allocate a budget to medically assisted reproduction. The long treatment of this legislation at the National Congress reflected a deep debate rooted in two positions. On the one hand, the conception of infertility as a disease, a biological impossibility to procreate. This is the position of the World Health Organization. On the other hand, the conception of procreation as a right, basis of fundamental rights to life and family, as were recognized in the main human rights treaties. Our law is characterized by the broadness, defining beneficiaries as every person over 18 years old. Thus, this broad reduction reflects the second position, the human right perspective. Therefore, in Argentina, the right of procreation is recognized without any discrimination. What does it mean? Firstly, everyone, despite their economic situation, have the same right to procreation as treatments are now free. This with the Inter-American Court of Human Rights judgment in the case Murillo of Costa Rica that claimed that Costa Rica had to avoid the fact that only people with economic resources could afford medical treatments to have a baby. Argentina did change this restrictive reality, so in this sense the law means social inclusion and equity. Secondly, everyone who is older than 18 years old and regardless their civil state has also guaranteed the right to procreation without discrimination between single and married people. Thirdly, in 2010, our National Congress had passed a law recognizing same-sex marriage. That modification of the Civil Code included some provisions on adoption, but made no reference to the question of fertilization. So now, the broad reduction of the medically assisted reproduction law allows everyone, heterosexual or homosexual, the right to procreation. It doesn't matter if the barrier is biological or structural. This fact opens the door to an ethical debate that must be addressed in order to avoid any kind of loophole, surrogacy or gestational carriers. So we have to take in mind the relevance of the issues related to fertilization and its bioethical consequences. I finally want to remark that this bill was enriched by the work of many citizens, social organizations and specialists. The process of enactment of the law lasted almost 2 years, and we were on the risk of lacking parliamentary status. This situation was reverted mainly thanks to the restless efforts of them. So in this sense, I really believe that this event is an opportunity to make social conscience of the importance of the subject, taking it with scientific rigor and opening the broad debate on ethics. At last, I want to express my gratefulness to everyone that has contributed to this Congress with their scientific work, especially to Coscioni Association and its authorities. Thank you, everybody.